where you belong. Give it strength to carry on. Open your heart, set your mind at ease. Live your life and you'll be free. We're gonna rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising, rise, rise, rise. Keep on rising,
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Toon Review for tonight's Newcastle United 2, Burnley 0 match review. Another 3 points for the Toon Army as we start climbing up the old Premier League table, and 5 clean sheets in a row now, which is quite acceptable, I do think. So we go into Wednesday's game, and, you know, the excitement is incredible. We will, of course, be doing our match review or preview for that on Tuesday night ahead of the game. It is going to be a huge occasion at St James's Park. Not sure whether I'm going to be there yet, though, because, well, as people know, I have a really bad back at the minute. I am really struggling with it. But if I don't go, I will still be commentating, and we will still have a great night. That is the bonus of being able to do this. If I can't get to the game, we can still watch it with my mates and just have a good laugh on the commentary as well. But anyway, it was a splendid win yesterday, a very good performance, although certain chances not taken. We saw a cracking goal from Miggy and, of course, a penalty from Alexander Isak, and we march on. Injury worries, though, ahead of the game. We know the Botman is definitely out. Joe Linton literally made an appearance for 20 seconds before doing his hamstring. So we are a little bit worried about that. Obviously, Joe Willock is still unsure whether he's going to take part or whether he's going back into training this week. It's not looking great, I have to say. Callum Wilson is also a doubt. So injuries are there, but you know what? We have a squad, and I'm sure whoever goes out on that pitch on Wednesday night to represent us will do a fabulous job. Obviously, before we get into it, guys, please do keep voting for us in the Football Content Awards. That is going on for about another 2 weeks, I think, is for the voting. So please, the link is in the description right at the top. Just keep going in and voting, guys, and see where we end up. Just click the link, go down to Best Podcast. You'll see the Premier League there. It's a drop-down box. Hit the drop-down box and you'll see the Toon Review in there. Please keep voting for us. We really do appreciate it. As usual, if you do enjoy tonight's show, keep those likes coming in. Hit the thumbs up, guys. And, of course, if you're new to the channel and like what you see, come and subscribe. Be part of this incredible community here on the Toon Review, and also hit that notification bell, which will let you know when we schedule live shows or we upload any recorded ones. And also, the toonreview.co.uk is the website to go if you want all your merchandise. I will show you some pictures again of the T-shirts later on in the show, but we've had some fantastic reaction, lots of orders coming in for hoodies and T-shirts and things like that. So if you want to go and have a look, that is at the toonreview.co.uk. Not very difficult. Straight away, you'll find that website. And of course, if you want to donate to the channel tonight, you can by hitting the $sign at the bottom of the live comments. That will obviously get your comment read straight out as well. And you can become a member of the Toon Review by hitting the join button just underneath the three of us. We do have a new member. Somebody please read that name for me.
Fascist 05.
Thank you, Billy. Alex, do you want to give it a go, or do you think Billy's done it?
I think Billy nailed it.
I think he did. Anyway, I'll call you Vash. So welcome to Members Club, Vash. Nice to have you, and thank you for your support of the channel. David Smith, who's been celebrating his membership for 16 months. Thank you very much, David. Good evening, everybody. At least we will now see if Tonali can play with Bruno. Yes. Right, we've got all that out the way. Welcome, everybody, and good evening to Alex and Billy. How are we feeling today, lads? Are we feeling good about the win yesterday? Alex, we'll start with you.
Good about the win, bad about the injury news. So it's two sides to it, really. I think it was a decent performance. I think there were a lot of games last year where we played that we played that exact game several times last year and came away with a point.
Yep.
So it was nice to come away with 3 points. You know, we missed quite a lot of chances, but still got 3 points, which is really, really, really important that we can grind out results. We need to be able to do that. It would be nice to be a little bit more consistent with our XG and with putting in those high value chances. I feel like maybe there can be some allowances for that Isak miss based on how awkward it was and his left side and the left foot and trying to scoop it round. I get that. It's fine. It happens. Would be nice to be a little bit more clinical. We needed a penalty to put it to bed, and it was a penalty in which Gordon was nowhere near ready to have a shot on goal. It was one of those penalties where, you get two types of penalties. You bring someone down to prevent a goal, or it's just something that's happened in the periphery area of the box that was never probably going to result in a goal anyway, but you get a goal for it, which, I don't know, there's a lot of discussion about that penalty rule and however it benefited us. It's just
well, we are going to touch on VAR today because it's I know a lot of people have said about Liverpool had the fair share good VAR decisions last season. Fair enough, but the majority of fans are looking and saying, yeah, but that could be our team next week suffering from some of the decisions.
But it generally is. I see. I'm of the opposite opinion to you today, Paul. I don't want to give this too much coverage, just in my opinion, my personal opinion, purely because I feel like it doesn't get the excessive media coverage when it's a different team. It does get excessive media coverage when it's Man United or Liverpool, and that's the problem.
Yeah, we're only going to touch on it, but it's not so much VAR. It's about the standard of officiating, Alex. That which it goes hand in hand with VAR, but we'll come to that a bit later.
I think that's the worst we've seen. That referee had the worst game I think I've ever seen by any referee in any standard of football ever.
Absolutely. But anyway, back to the game, Billy. I mean, the penalty incident itself, I mean, it took you 2 or 3 times to decide if you thought it was a penalty when we were doing the commentary yesterday.
Really? I thought it was Stonewall straight away.
I don't think it was Stonewall. I've watched it a few times. I'm not
Even
bothered. Don't get me wrong.
He's gone through the man to get the ball.
Yeah, he's gone through the man
I think
first.
that's why the penalty was given. Exactly. But I think the old school football fan will look at that and think, well, that's just, a good, strong tackle. But of course, when the game has changed so much since then, and you basically can't do that now. It was a brilliant penalty, put away fantastically well by of course, Isak. I mean, Isak's performance, Billy, I know he was still quite unsure as the game, when he came off, and we were looking back at his performance thinking, is he looking 100%? I'm not sure he is.
He does some fantastic things, and he does some the total opposite. It's feast or famine with him. And in front of goal yesterday, I think he should have scored at least one. The open goal he missed. Before that, his touch was horrendous. He'd have been clean on goal if he'd have brought it down without the heavy touch. But then to get the second chance and not being able to bend his foot round it, I think he should have scored there. He looks.
I agree with Alex. Though it was a very funny angle that he had to.
He had to try and bend his foot round. But I mean, the touch in the first place that took him close to the keeper was pretty poor, I thought. And at times he looks fantastic, and at times he just looks like he ain't arsed. But he had a fair game yesterday. I think he was better than some of the games of this year. He was dangerous all the time. He was. After the penalty, the defender made the mistake in the first place to head it into Gordon's pass, didn't he? And I think he was trying to correct what he'd done. Yeah, and went through Gordon's. And I'm not even sure he did get the ball even now. But whether he did or not is irrespective. Once it's gone through the player to get there, so definite penalty. Yeah.
By the way, just before we move on, Alex has put a comment in here about what happened with Sheffield Wednesday and that fan with the Bradley Lowry photo. To give credit to Sheffield Wednesday fans, they've raised £10,000 for Bradley Lowry's foundation, which I think is fabulous. It just goes to prove that, the majority of football fans are very, very good people. who come together in times like this. I think it was disgusting what that Sheffield Wednesday fan did. We've seen it with our own fan the other day, with mentioning Munich and things like that and their disasters. There's no place in there for football. Has no place for that kind of stuff. You will be found out. You will be dealt with by the authorities. But for the Sheffield Wednesday fans to go on and raise 10 grand in such a short space of time for the foundation, I think is absolutely incredible and must be applauded, because Alex is right. Football has no colours for this sort of thing. What Bradley Lowry went through, but what he did was incredible. The bravery that young lad showed will live forever, not just in Sunderland fans, but in the Northeast as well and across football. He was incredible to go through what he did and do what he did, and his family continue now to raise money for young kids suffering the same sort of illness is absolutely incredible. So I did want to give that a shout out tonight, because I think it needs to be addressed. And thank you to the Sheffield Wednesday fans, and also to Bradley Lowry's family for, that must have hurt them yesterday, seeing that being smacked all over social media like that in such a disgraceful way. And we get to see that today, that the Sheffield Wednesday fans have responded. So absolutely incredible, and a credit to football, those guys who've raised that kind of money. And keep doing what you're doing, Bradley's family, because we're all with you still. Simple as that. So well done. Right, moving back to the first goal yesterday, Alex, it was incredible, wasn't it? Because we dominated that first half. The first 10 minutes were a little dodgy from what me and Billy managed to see, but we'll scrape over that. There was a couple of errors, but then suddenly Miggy pops up with a typical Miggy goal. He cuts inside. I thought he was going to take another touch and come inside a little bit further, but he didn't. He let loose, and it was in from the minute it left his boot.
Yeah, I think massive credit to Trippier in the build-up to that. And not just that goal, but the whole game, the way Trippier conducted himself positionally. I thought it was very brave, because obviously we'd moved Lascelles over to be the right-sided centre-half. Yeah. And Trippier joins the attack quite well all the time. He's a midfielder, essentially. So, we were tasking Lascelles with that sort of space. Longstaff was there to assist where necessary, which is very important. But yeah, Trippier with a good read, with a good tackle. Miggy with some good footwork. It's footwork that we've seen. It's footwork. We never really used to see that from Miggy. It's something we've seen that's sort of been developed into his game. I think more so since Eddie Howe's been with the club. Because I don't remember strikes kind of like that under Steve Bruce. There were.
By anyone.
It was.
Even a shot on goal might have been nice under Steve Bruce, Alex.
Well, it was more when he first came. It was more about pace and breaking in behind and little dinks and things. Whereas, this wand of a left foot, but it wasn't just about that. It was the movement as well, to create the space for himself, and to obviously make the defenders and the goalkeeper unsure as to when exactly he was going to hit that. It was just top quality, and it was top bins. You're never saving it. And that's what we need. That's what we need, because you're not going to score all of those. However, if you're consistent with that, you're going to get your team a corner, or you're going to get a rebound and another attempted effort on goal. Yeah. It helps motivation. It helps the crowd. It helps the rest of your team as well. It's important that we get this from him. And Eddie Howe's right in his comments. There's not really many players in the Premier League that play the way Miggy plays. He's when he wants to, he's got that high level of technical ability, a good left foot, but then he's also got that sort of pressing monstrousness to his game as well. So he's quite unique in how he plays. I think that's a fair assessment. And I can't really think of anybody else that plays similar to Miggy. Yeah. I'll have a think.
I mean, Billy, we did mention in the commentary yesterday that we were very impressed with Miggy yesterday. He kept himself in the game, and that's been our complaint for a while now about Miggy, is that sometimes he's there for a few minutes and then he just sort of fades out of the game. But he was in that game all the way through yesterday, and pretty much a dominant first half performance. We controlled the game, and Miggy was at the heart of a lot of things, and he even put in a good cross on his right foot, which you mentioned.
Yeah, he did. I think the reason for that was he was, if he was out of possession, he was chasing that ball down, making tackles. I don't know what the stats were. They were pretty good in his favour, though, for ground duels and things for one yesterday. Constantly looking for the ball, getting it, beating his right back, left back, right back. Who would it be? It'd be left back, wouldn't it? and crossing the ball, whether it be inside or outside. The goal was great, but he contributed loads more as well. One of his best games yesterday, Almiron. He's been coming back to form the past few weeks, and yesterday with the cap on that. Whether he plays on Wednesday, I'm not so sure, but he might do.
Look, I mean, another guy who was absolutely brilliant yesterday again, Alex, was Anthony Gordon. I mean, the energy this guy has shown, and you know, people have mentioned his attitude before. I think he slipped up a little bit with kicking the ball away, which means he misses the West Ham game. You know, it was a little bit petulant, but people have got on his back a lot about an attitude problem last season when he first signed. I'm not seeing that on the pitch, I must admit. All I'm seeing is a guy who is 100% committed to Newcastle United and is playing some fabulous stuff. His link up yesterday again with Anderson and Bruno was brilliant to watch.
Yeah, well, I know we wanted to move away from energy, but I feel like Beans has been talking about Miggy and Anthony Gordon. I feel like it's all about the energy. Eddie Howe mentioned that post match that you know, Burnley are a good technical side. You know, he paid tribute to Vincent Kompany's job there. I think Burnley are a reasonably good team. They're just lacking a little bit of, you know, I think Billy mentioned them being a bit naive. I think that's a fair, you know, analysis of them. You can see they've got they've got some good structure, but it's the energy specifically for those two. And Eddie Howe mentioned he was interested in seeing what the physical stats were like for Miggy, and I'll give you both of them for Gordon as well. So Miggy was 7 out of 8 ground duels, which again, and he lost 1. And Gordon was 9 out of 13 ground duels. So this is just getting stuck in, constant pressing. You know, those are some phenomenal statistics for those two. And it was evident on the pitch. You could see it in the data, and you can see it with your own eyes. You could see they were absolute workhorses. And yeah, the link-up play with Gordon as well. He's starting to really understand his teammates. Because we were mentioning this maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. A few little flicks and tricks weren't coming off. You know, they weren't quite on the same page. Whereas now it is working a lot better. Especially it's coincided with Bruno playing some better football as well, and he's playing with a lot more confidence and freedom. But yeah, I might as well link that press and energy into Isak as well, and just say that I think maybe the technical level of Burnley and them trying to keep as much possession as they could, I think that was one of the reasons Isak was so tired, because we had to press phenomenally to just make sure Burnley couldn't have too much of the ball, because I think they wanted it. That was the game plan. It's probably why Isak was so tired. We were pressing like something else. But
he doesn't seem to press at the same sort of intensity that the other guys do, to be fair. It's a weird one. I mean,
I'm happy to give
is
him the
that
benefit
just
of the doubt
Isak's
on
body
that.
language? I mean, I don't know. You know, is it his body language? I
think he's just done
pick
so
up on
much
that
pressing.
much next season. Yeah, could be. Indigo figure, arguably Gordon is the most similar player to Miggy. The combo of high speed, stamina, and work rate is key to both their games. I agree with that. Well, what I will also add to that is I think, you know, Gordon is much more two-footed than Miggy is. And I think Miggy is clearly working on his right foot, because there was a couple of times yesterday that we have to give him credit for, that he did go onto his right foot and attempt a couple of crosses. One floated straight at the keeper, but one was pulled back into the box and caused a few problems. So he's definitely trying, Billy, isn't he? We can see that.
Yeah, we used to criticise Ryan Fraser for having just energy, but this is energy plus talent, technical ability. You know, they do get to the ball and they do create stuff both sides. They have got final kind of product. So it's a lot advanced to what we had when we used to have Ryan Fraser and to a lesser extent Matt Ritchie on the widths. Yeah, I thought both flanks were fantastic yesterday. And Miggy was unpredictable. I don't think the fullback knew which way he was going either.
Yeah,
attacked here by a muff or something.
Hopefully there's bugs everywhere. It's horrible. That's why when the cold weather comes, they'll disappear. There is a couple of people in the chat wondering why he didn't take Bruno off. Look, I think he needed Bruno on, Alex, because, you know, when that game is 1-0, we know that anything in football can happen. And Burnley, they did create a couple of chances when it was just 1-0. And I think he wanted to keep Bruno on just to keep that fluidity in midfield, because he was having a great game again.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think if we'd have taken a few more of those chances and been sort of 3-0 up, he might have made that sort of change. Was Miley on the bench? I can't remember. It depends who was on the bench.
I don't think Miley was on the bench yesterday, no.
So it might not have even been an option unless he brought sort of Hall on and wiggled sort of the structure around. He possibly could have done that, but yeah, you're completely right. We weren't in the lead enough to justify a change of that magnitude. We've got to be careful. We can't be making assumptions with these substitutions, and then all of a sudden we get football, especially in the Premier League. I know a lot of we're not sort of Man United fans. We're not top 6 fans. We've been down the bottom of the Premier League recently. We've seen a few seasons in the Championship. We know what the Premier League is like. It doesn't matter what team you are or how bad you are. You can score 2 quick fire goals in the Premier League. We've seen it happen. With Lejeune with the double goals against Everton. It happens. It does happen. And again, we've got to try and mitigate and plan against freak goals, wonder goals, because they can happen. We've just got to be so much better. This is why you've got to score more than one. Even though we've been keeping clean sheets, you've got to get more than that, because somebody can hit a wonder strike. These are kids that were selected out of a pool of thousands because they're good. And they're playing for a Premier League team. They are elite. They are in the best 20 clubs in the entire country. Any of them is capable of hitting an absolute zinger from 30 yards. It's just they can do that.
Burnley's season won't be defined on the match against us or who they've already played. Burnley's season will be defined on that mini league that they will play down at the bottom amongst teams that are going to be struggling. And if they, and I'm sure they'll pick results up.
Well, if Luton can beat Everton, Burnley can beat Everton.
Burnley can beat Everton, absolutely. But you know what? I hope Burnley do stay up. I like Vincent Kompany. I like the way he's trying to play football. And we noticed that, Billy, didn't we, during commentary, that, the Burnleys of old who used to come to St. James's Park were very much long ball, hoof it up. But to give credit to Burnley, they still kept trying to play football, despite the fact that, we did have the majority of the game yesterday, but they did try.
Yeah, I think that's Kompany's mantra, isn't it? Play it from the back, a la Man City. Play it in a nice way. It's what fans want to see. I think they've got to get a little bit streetwise. I don't think they're going to get away with doing that all season, because if they maintain doing that, even against the sides that they should be beating, the lower, they're going to get beat. They need to get a little bit streetwise. It's a great time for playing football and the time not to play it. I felt at times yesterday they're doing it when they shouldn't have been doing it, and they got caught out. The first goal was a perfect example of that.
Vash, thank you very much for your 20. Is it rubies? I think, is it Indian ruby? Something like that. But he's just put another 200 in, so that's 220 altogether. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what is that?
Type it in, but I don't know what the symbol is.
It's
it's currency anyway.
Yeah, but thank you anyway, Vash.
He has Sri Lankan name, so it could be Sri Lankan
possibly. Yeah. Anyway, he's put another 200 in, like I say, and he says, "Hey guys, I would like to thank you guys for the work you do to the NUFC community and give up-to-date news and shows which help us foreign supporters get even closer to the club." Thank you very much, Vash. Really, really do appreciate that. That's a lovely message. Thank you so much for that. And DK35, thank you for your $9.99 super chat. He says, did you guys see Anderson's goal for Palace? Would he be a priority position to fill in January? Or if we progress in the Champions League and have a decent budget, would you buy elsewhere? I haven't personally seen the goal, so I don't know.
It's a fantastic finish for centre-half. Good Lord. But at the right end of the pitch where his job was, the Palace back four outstanding yesterday, all four of them. Anderson and Gahey together were superb.
I think the ship sailed on buying an older centre half. I think if we were gonna buy somebody like Anderson, not that Anderson is old, but obviously he's not a prospect like Botman was. If we were going to buy a centre half of that sort of age range, 28 to 32, I think we'd have done it in the window just gone. And we've missed that boat now. I think now if we're going to go for another right-sided centre half, it needs, because we've still got Lascelles, who is again seemingly doing a really good job, competent enough. Fingers crossed that it continues. But I feel like the next centre half has to be another young one, right?
Yeah,
he did.
Indian rupees it is, says Vash. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Martin Keown calling for Anthony Gordon to be picked for the England squad. Look, as far as I'm concerned, he has to be in that squad. He is the best. He's playing the best left-sided football out of all the England players at the minute. But again, Alex, it boils down to one man, and we know that this one man has his favourites. And I'd be very, very surprised if Anthony Gordon is in. but he deserves to be in.
Well, I'd rather he wasn't, because I think
Well,
he's going to need a
for
rest
obvious
with
reasons,
we've had injuries. He's had to play a lot more minutes than Eddie Howe has wanted him to. I think that's very, very clear. And he's fair play to him. He's not dropped. His energy levels have not dropped at all. His attitude all the way up until the end of games past the 90th minute have been exceptional. And he deserves a lot of credit for that. However, it doesn't matter how young or how energetic you are. When we start getting to mid-December, late December, it's going to start hurting. With especially the way he plays. I mean, I could be wrong, but it's some monstrous pressing that boy does all game long. It's magnificent. You know, when he first joined us, well, sorry, not when he first joined us. At the start of this season, a lot of people were sort of querying why he was coming off sort of 65 minutes. Because of the way he plays is absolutely absurd and unnatural. It's difficult to do that. He's had to build up his fitness. Now he's at that level. You can't keep doing it forever. We do need a bit of rotation. And I think it would be a blessing in disguise if he's not picked for England. I think it would be very unfortunate for him. I think he deserves it. But again, I said this the other day, I've got true faith in Southgate's incompetence. He just won't pick the good players. And he could do with a little break. How long is the international break going to be for us? 10, 12 days or something for the players?
Like that.
And that'll be a really good rest for him. He can chill for it. He can have 2 or 3, 4 days off. And
I'm sure Eddie would give him some days off, definitely.
Yeah.
But for him himself, I think it would be fabulous to get in the England squad, to be honest. Anyway, Abs makes a good point there as well, Billy. We spoke about Shea before the game and said the importance of him playing well with Lascelles next to him. And the two of them were excellent yesterday. I thought, Jamal gave a ball away maybe twice, but defensively was solid again. And Fabian Shea just, since I think that Brighton game, I'm sure he had a rocket up his arse after that game. I'm convinced he did. He's never looked back since then, though. No,
and especially as he moved to the left-hand side as well of the centre backs, he was superb. Didn't make any difference to him really. And I thought the Sal's are the same. I thought one dodgy moment aside when he dallied on the ball and got caught by 2 Burnley players. I thought he was excellent too. So the 2 centre backs were very solid. It'd be interesting to see them if they have to play against PSG, mind.
Well, it looks that might have to be. We will see. Aditya Joshi, thank you very much. Your first ever super chat on the channel. Also from India, 100 Indian rupees or rupees. Thank you very much. So there's more fans in India. I am Indian too. Thank you, Aditya. That is very kind. We're getting all over the world now, guys. We really are. Now, I guess we'll quickly talk about the officiating, because the referee who did our game yesterday, listen, was it a bad refereeing performance? I don't know. I don't particularly pay him. I don't think we mentioned the referee very much, Billy, as far as I can remember.
He's the first ref I've seen this season give a foul throw. I've not seen any others, and they all do it.
Yeah.
There's been tons of foul throws this season, because I always point them out on watch-alongs. I hate it when players foul throw. It does my nutting. But it was a foul throw. I mean, Dan Burn, you're a fullback who takes throw-ins, do better. You shouldn't be getting caught on foul throws as a professional footballer.
He nearly threw on his own toe, didn't he? It was that bad.
I feel like that's so bad. I feel like there needs to be a forfeit. I feel like in training, they all need to throw water balloons at him, or he needs to pay a fine. Or if you get foul throwed as a professional footballer, you've got come in with clown shoes. Honestly, it's not good enough. It definitely deserves a
Wasn't
giggle.
there used to be a left back for Arsenal who continually got done for foul throws? What was it? Was he a Frenchman? I can't remember his name.
What? Monreal or
Clichy?
No.
Clichy, Monreal.
I'm trying to think
like
of But anyway, he got done.
We're giving you French Arsenal fullbacks
6 or 7 times, I think, in a space of time for foul throw. It was bizarre. He just couldn't throw a football. But look, I mean, Billy, are you worried about the Premier League officiating? I mean, I actually watched Annie's video yesterday. He did a vlog for his Bristol City channel, and they got I could not believe that they were given weren't given a stonewall penalty when one of their players was in the box, and he just got literally thrown out of the way and no penalty given. It was one of the most strangest things I've ever seen. I mean, I've seen comments as well in the chat tonight that, you know, there's no referees coming through because of the abuse they get. And we've seen that at grassroots level as well. But it's terrible at the minute, isn't it? I think the refereeing in the Premier League is as bad as I've ever seen it right now. And it's been bad over the years, but this is as bad as it gets.
They've been saying that about grassroots refs for years. It's to stop people gobbing off on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Yesterday's referee, for instance, thought it was very naive. You could tell he was inexperienced. I was amazed when he pulled the advantage back on IAjax when he was in the penalty box, and then brought it back for a free kick that was like 30 seconds earlier. Was mental. Couldn't understand that at all. It's the people that are operating this technology that's the problem. Now, yesterday, I mean, I'm no fan of Liverpool, and I do find it hilarious that for once they're the victims of it. Mm-hmm. But there's ramifications for it. I've seen a few offsides the past few weeks where no lines have been off and you've seen, and you think that's offside and they don't give it. And we've seen it in seasons before. We saw it at Anfield first last season with IAjax. Mm-hmm. We saw it at Villa Park a couple of seasons ago with Callum Wilson. Yeah. Where his boots only shot up about 3 sizes and made him.
Well, that was incredible. He literally was wearing clown shoes, according to VAR. I mean, they must have been about size 21.
So I hate to go down the road of corruption, but something ain't right about this VAR stuff, especially with the offside decisions. It should be a fact. It should be fact. Oh, there is or isn't. And they're putting different lines up, and it's taking forever to decide. Yeah, I think it's time to get rid of it now. Let the linesman do the decisions. In actual fact, it was the linesman yesterday that shouldn't have flagged. If he hadn't have flagged, they'd have had to got the lines out. Mm. He did flag, and they couldn't prove it wasn't.
They should have the lines out for everyone, just to be sure. I just don't understand that.
But they pretended they'd checked it and they hadn't, which is the bad bit in my opinion.
Yeah. Chris Lynch, thank you very much for your £5 super chat. Much appreciated, buddy. And Basil Brush, well, thank you very much for 14 months of membership. Thank you. The ref was Jack's old teacher. Yes, he was. He was Jack's old teacher. But I don't know.
Can I mention something about the ref as well? Yeah. There's been a lot of uproar about the ref in our game, especially on social media. I think people have got to also take a step back and realise that he let so much go, which allowed us play the style we were trying to play. We were able to press, be very aggressive in the tackle. There are a lot of other referees that normally pull us up every 5 seconds for those kinds of fouls. But he was letting... Yeah. I appreciate there was
some referees, Alex, some arsehole referees would have given a foul on Trippier for that tackle he made leading up to the goal on Ramsey when he tackled him.
Exactly.
I've seen them fouls.
I completely agree, and this is why I'm not too bothered about their refereeing performance. I agree that doesn't change the fact that there were 3 or 4 really poor calls, such as I think he paused the game when an injured Burnley player was not on the pitch, which is technically not in the rules.
Well, we couldn't understand what he stopped the game for.
Yeah, so I get that. However, people need some perspective and need to realise that we've had poor refereeing every game this season. So if we're going to have poor refereeing, I prefer this kind of, if that's even a thing. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But it was the fact that he allowed quite a lot go, so we could play our style, and he gave us a penalty. So
incidentally, we saw worse tackles and from Burnley players yesterday than the one that Curtis Jones got sent off for, which, in my opinion, wasn't a red card.
Oh, I don't know, Billy. I've watched that a couple of times.
He watched it in slow motion. It looks bad, but nah, he's not trying to do him there. I think all the players have said it as well.
Well, yeah, I can understand why he was sent off, though. That's the thing. But I mean, it's Liverpool. I don't really care. It's quite funny.
But if Spurs were to beat us to the European Champions League places by a point,
good point. Yeah, that's good point, Billy.
It should get in everyone's head. It affects us all, not just Liverpool fans.
Oh, absolutely, and that's what I think a lot of people were trying to say on social media last night was, a lot of people were laughing at Liverpool and saying, "Oh, ha ha," but then again, it could be us next week on the wrong end of it, or could be us at the end of the season when it counts, like you've just said, Billy. So, yeah, good point. Kieran, thank you very much. Hector Bellerin, that's who was the Arsenal player who used to...
The famous French right back that was Spanish.
The Spanish one. The Spanish right back, not French left back.
All right. Well, I thought he was French, but he's not French. He's Spanish.
Hector Bellerin.
Hector Bellerin sounds French. I don't care what you say, but I know he was Spanish. But I just, when I was trying to think of him, I thought he was a French defender, but he wasn't. Hector Bellerin. So there you go. Screw you, Alex. Anyway, D-Max says, how long before a club gets relegated on a contentious decision?
It's already happened.
It's already happened.
Yeah. Of course, Villa should have gone down, shouldn't they? And not Bournemouth that season because of a dodgy, technology failed that day, didn't it? So
And turned it on, had they?
No. So it has happened before. Now then, Elliot Anderson, we'll touch on him before we move on to the player ratings. I thought Elliot Anderson had his best game in a black and white shirt yesterday, Billy.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was amazed when they brought him off. He didn't look tired.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was absolutely superb. The link-up play he does with Gordon, just a phenomenal performance. And each game he gets better and better. And I don't think he's droppable at the minute. I've got to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you're making your first 11 for Newcastle United at the moment, okay, Joe Linton's injured, but I'd play him Wednesday night. Absolutely, I would. 100%.
Well, who else are we going to play?
Well, I don't think we've got...
Mr. Tonali would probably want to play there, wouldn't he?
Well, I mean, look, Tonali against PSG, I think... I mean, we'll touch on it more in the preview, but I do think that we will see Tonali play. I really do. I think it'll be Longstaff, Tonali, and Bruno. But we'll touch on that when we come to it. But Anderson was just great to watch. Vash, thank you for another 40 rupees. Alex, can we have some stats on Longstaff? I'm sure Alex will work on that. But
of course.
Alex, do you expect Anderson? Could he start against PSG, or do you think he will bring Tonali in? Because Anderson was superb yesterday. He really was.
Who have we got after the PSG game? West Ham.
West Ham on the Sunday, yeah.
On the Sunday, so Wednesday, Sunday, PSG Wednesday, West Ham Sunday. Possibly Tonali. I think he might go with on Wednesday. Maybe he's under the impression of Anderson's probably going to be more useful in Premier League games at the moment, and Tonali's got Champions League experience. I think he might lean into that kind of decision making, and that, if that makes sense, that style of thinking that Tonali's, been under that sort of pressure. The national team with Champions League nights, it's not going to phase him quite as much. And I think Tonali's actually been playing quite well since that first half with Man City. I think he's looked a lot better. I don't think there's an issue at the moment. I think he's moving a little bit better. He's a little bit cleaner, quicker with his passing. It didn't quite come off with some of the things he was trying to do towards the end of that Burnley game, but I don't think he was meant to come on. I think he was meant to stay on the bench and be safe for Wednesday. And I think that's one of the reasons why we didn't see him come on, well, as the original plan. He had to come on because Joe Linton had to go off.
He had no choice but to bring him on, yeah.
I think that kind of almost proved that it's going to be Tonali on Wednesday. Unless it's a curveball and it's Anderson, but I think Anderson's at this point is going to be more of a Premier League player than Tonali for the Champions League. I think it just makes more sense. I think that's how they're going to think about it in the coaches' minds as well, potentially.
Yeah. Spike, yes, I did. Thank you very much, matey. We'll be giving them away during the week. So Spike's just provided me with 2 brilliant Bobby Robson photos with his autograph and stuff framed. So absolutely fabulous stuff from Spike again. So thank you very much, bud. Guys, I don't know whether you saw this yesterday, but the game involving IAjax yesterday, and I don't know how this panned out, but the goalkeeper got injured pretty badly. And the players did what they did with Eriksson and obviously made a circle around the goalkeeper at the time of treatment. And a lot of the players were clearly devastated. It was awful. But I haven't seen, I've just been reading about it, but I don't know how it sort of panned out. No. Because the goalkeeper, I think, had a suspected broken neck. But I'm going to have to look into that because it happened in the Eredivisie yesterday. Or Sean's just saying goalkeeper is fine, he's recovering. Okay. That's good news because from what I was reading, a lot of the players were actually inconsolable because it just looked so serious. You never want to see that kind of thing in football. Apparently, Sean says he can't remember what happened. The goalkeeper, he just does not know what happened. So, but it's good that he's recovering. Thank God for that. Because, And yes, God bless the folk of New York. Terrible floods going on over there as well. I mean, we're seeing some awful stuff going on right now. It really is. The game was abandoned, says the Ruffiad. Yeah, I would imagine it would have been. Right, it is time now for the player rating. So, as usual, guys that are watching, please take part. Do you agree with us? Do you not? We will go through them. So we will start off with His Holiness Nick Pope, Alex.
Yeah, it was a decent game. Obviously, we've not really mentioned, and I forgot to mention this in the podcast on Patreon about. Obviously, it's his ex-team. It's the first time he's played against Burnley since he left, which is quite interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, a few good saves. Passing again was very, very tidy. 19 out of 21 passes, so a 90% passing accuracy is really, really clean. 1 out of 3 long balls. So there's the 2 that the 2 he misplaced were 2 long ball attempts, which obviously going to be way more inaccurate. Just really, really solid. It had to be switched on, but that's what we need. We need him confident because he's going to be one of those goalkeepers that, like the AC Milan game, he's going to need to be switched on and his goal gets peppered. But then he's going to have other games similarly to like the Leicester game last year where he's not challenged at all and then he needs to make sure he's switched on. He does seem to be able to do both as long as he's in a bit of spell of confidence, which he is at the moment. So I don't know. It's always difficult to rate them when this happens. I'll go with an 8 because I'm happy with the better sort of passing percentage. I feel like that needs to be credited somewhat. I'll go for an 8.
Okay, Billy.
Yeah, he saved us really early doors, didn't he? With the Dan Burns slip that ended up with a shot on goal that he got his leg to. I don't think I've ever seen a goalkeeper save as much with his limbs that aren't his hands or his arms. He's fantastic at it, and it's an art. It's not luck. He's doing it on purpose.
Absolutely. I mean,
he makes himself as big
people
as he
used
can.
to rave about the hair, Billy.
Yeah, he's making himself as big as he can. And he's stopping the ball from getting past him, and it was a great save. His kicking was fine yesterday. I don't think people are criticising his kicking. I don't think it was that bad yesterday at all.
No, I don't. I thought he was a lot better yesterday.
Sweeper keeping was pretty good too.
Well, he's only missed 2, so I don't know how they can possibly say it wasn't very good. That doesn't make sense.
So I'm going to give him a 9.
Yeah, I'm going with a 9 as well. I thought there was a couple of times he came out, used his head. Excuse me, used his head. Particularly long clearances from Trafford. There was a couple of times he came out and he did okay. And obviously, he was more solid yesterday. Not a lot to do, but it's vital that, like Alex says, he keeps his concentration in games like that, where he's going to spend a lot of the game just watching us on the attack. So yeah, I'll go with a 9. Kieran Trippier, Billy.
I'm going to give him a 10. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. Yet again, it's week in, week out, game in, game out. He's just inspirational. Didn't have the captain's armband yesterday, but he was captain everything but officially won. Defensively solid, got us on the front foot as always, assist as well. Yeah, and they tried to hurt him yesterday, but I think there's a definite plan to injure Kieran Trippier yesterday because he got late tackled on 3 or 4 occasions, some bad ones, ankle slides and things like that. Just an inspirational, fantastic captain. Although they wasn't yesterday, but 10 out of 10 for me again. Yeah,
10 for me as well. I echo everything Billy's just said. He's at the top of his game, and at 33-year-old, he is just immense. He is just immense, right at the top of his game, and I think he's superb. Riptide there just said sometimes we forget he's 33 because he plays like he's 23. He's just got incredible engine. So 10 for me, Alex.
Yeah, he deserves a 10. I'm just looking at some of the stats here. Absolutely bonkers. So only 73 out of 90 passes, which is an 81% percentage. But when you factor in the amount of crosses and long balls he's attempted, most of the missed passes are due to him trying crosses and crazy long balls and switches and things like that, which we want him trying. We're absolutely fine if they're not going to hit every time. Absolutely, just no problem at all. Again, 122 touches. Just give the ball to Kieran. Let him do whatever he wants with it. That's basically the plan there. Obviously, I mentioned at the start of the show, a little bit of a change in defensive shape with Lascelles. So, there might have been a scenario in which Trippier was maybe less confident in going forward because Lascelles is there. It's not quite the same shape, but there was none of that. There was full communication. Lascelles showed a bit of confidence, which is great to see. Trippier did his job really well. 5 key passes. Again, he's outrageous. The duels, again, outrageous. 8 out of 11 ground duels, and he won his only aerial duel. I mean, he never loses in the air, considering he's not particularly tall. He never loses when he jumps.
I've said this before. His timing is impeccable for jumping for headers.
It's just class. Yeah, it's timing. It's just skill. And then, as Billy said, to back it up, was fouled 4 times. Yeah, they were trying to hurt him, but he got us some free kicks, and he got his assist as well. And he passed the armband to Lascelles and still put a leader's performance in like that. It's just, I mean, 10. I don't know how I could give him any less than a 10. It's magnificent.
Yeah. George says, Paul, did you feel a late fitness test yesterday? Me and Anne missed the crack. See you at PSG? ? Yeah, it is a question mark, George, up until this moment, because it looks like another late fitness test. I'm desperate to be at that game, but I have to watch myself. I really do. And obviously, George, you know the reasons why. So that's not a secret. I have to be careful. And if I'm not, if it's still as bad as it is now, then I'll be commentating rather than be at the match. But hopefully, I can get in to see bloody doctor would help. But until then, I'll keep doing the exercises and stuff that I know that I've got to do, and then we'll see how it goes. I'm praying I'm there. I truly am. I've seen Mr. Gallant mentioned a few times in the chat. I don't know why. I've seen one before saying it looks like he's forgot that we're actually playing this week. Okay, I haven't seen anything. Across to Dan Byrne. I'm giving Dan Byrne a 9 for yesterday, you know. I thought, yeah, the mistake he made. Don't look at me like that, Alex, right? Because I'm saying, you know, he made that mistake in the first 10 minutes. He didn't let it get to him. And I thought he did brilliantly the rest of the game. I thought his defending was fine. He was overlapping numerous times, Billy, which we mentioned in commentary. And I just thought he was a lot better. And, you know, for all the hammer I've given Dan Byrne this season, I think the last few games he's played, he's been excellent. So I'm giving him a 9. Billy.
He started very shakily, didn't he? Did it add a bit of a Steven Gerrard moment?
He did.
But after that, I thought he was okay. I think he benefits from having Anthony Gordon in front of him. Definitely. You know, Anthony Gordon stretches teams, and he can get alongside him however long it takes him to get there, but he does it. I think 9's a bit generous, so I'm going to give him an 8.
Listen, I don't mind you giving him an 8, Billy. If you think 9's generous, that's fine. But considering the shit I've given him this season,
well, yeah,
I have to praise him when I think it's due. And a lot of people are saying it wasn't a mistake; it was a slip. You know, so it was like a Gerrard moment. So it wasn't exactly his fault; he just slipped. But I thought he was sound the rest of the game. I really was. Right, come on then. Here he comes. Get your stakes and emojis at the ready, guys.
I'm going to give him a 7. I think there were a couple of occasions. It wasn't just a slip. He also made a mistake earlier on as well that left space in behind. So it was a poor opening 10 minutes for him positionally. He was careless on the ball. Passing accuracy again, 78%. I want to see cleaner passing. You know, we need an outlet. Joe Willock used to be so good at receiving the ball from him. It's harder to try and get it to people on that left side now. I do want to see some tidier passes, because against a better team, that is where we've been getting punished. It's just how it is. However, that being said, he gets as high as a 7 from me because 7 out of 9 aerial duels. So he got his head on everything where necessary, although I don't know how he lost twice. I'm not quite sure how you beat Dan Byrne in the air. So well done, whoever those two were. And yeah, there wasn't much else. There was a bit of structure there. He was careful for the rest of the game. He was solid. So I think he deserves a 7. I think the defensive competency drags it up as high as a 7.
And the foul throw,
I can't give him...
dragged him down a point. I'm going to go 7
exactly.
as well.
So the foul throw, shaky early 10 minutes, and the passes.
That's the both of you, right?
Higher than a 7.
You have both given me so much hammer sometimes for player ratings.
7's a good score.
7 is bollocks. He was better than a 7 yesterday, right? And I agree with Abs. Defensively, he was great. He won a lot of headers. He overlapped, which we've been criticising him for so much. Yet he did it yesterday. And you still stick with a 7.
I agree.
You both need hit over the head with a rather large frying pan. and
you can't ignore the negatives. We've got to. I agree with you with all of those positives. He did all of those things well. Completely agree with you. But we can't just ignore the bad things.
That's what I say to that.
To talk about.
We're moving on. Rujan says, Paul, you need to do the watch along because every time this season you've done the watch along for home games, we've won. Yes, but well, I mean, look,
Well, maybe
I
I
love
should
doing.
go
I
to the
love
actual
doing the
stadium.
commentary with Billy. I think me and Billy really enjoy it. We have a good laugh, and it's brilliant. But without any disrespect to Billy, would I rather be in my seat at the stadium for PSG? Absolutely, I would. And I think Billy knows that, and Alex knows that. But if I can't, then that's the next best thing for me: sitting watching the game with me mate, and then commentating on it. It doesn't get any better than that. So, yeah. We'll see how it goes. Right, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to vote the centre-backs at the same time. So we are going to get both your votes for centre-backs. So, Alex, we'll start with you for Fabian Schär and Jamal Lascelles.
I think they both deserve 8, maybe a tiny bit more. I think maybe they didn't quite have enough to do to get 9s. I think Schär maybe a 9 for Schär, 8 for Lascelles. And I'm not underscoring Lascelles, but it's just purely he wasn't tasked with as much. But again, passes when necessary were decent. He seems confident enough now. Defensive display was really, really solid. Offside trap, the line, the tracking, the positioning was all really, really good. Obviously been working super hard in training. It's there to see. Schär obviously got moved to an unnatural position for him. Did really well, all things considered. Passes really tidy. 8 accurate long balls again, which I think is why I'm going to push him up to a 9, just because he was, nice few flat long ball passes as well, a few switches. It was really nice and tidy. So 9 Schär, 8 Lascelles.
I'm exactly the same. I've gone 8 for Lascelles, 9 for Fabian Schär. Billy, I know you're nodding your head as well. So is that the same for you for pretty much what Alex has said?
I would have given Lascelles a 9 had it not been for that little error when he had it on the ball. I don't recall Schär making a mistake at all. Schär's pushing 10 for me, but I'm going to give him a 9 and Lascelles will 9.
Davey T is asking King Hoddle, of course, our resident Spurs fan, do Spurs have an equivalent Paul, Billy, and Alex? I think it would take a lot to have to replicate us three, I tell you. Right, we're just going to take a little pause in the player ratings to show you what's now available on the website, guys. We did announce this during the watch along. The website is back up. We have everything in on the website to sell as well. All new stuff as well as the old stuff like mugs, etc. They're all still there. But we now have some T-shirts. I'll just quickly run through them here. That is one of them, of course, which was on the front of the Wembley shirts. We're Gonna Rise. That's another one. Also, we have Not in the Nose. People have been asking for them, so get your orders in for them. And of course, hashtag the Toon Review underneath the writing. Then we've got Billy in the middle with his vest top, as Billy sometimes looks when he's at the gym, with hashtag TTR underneath. We've also got I Love Stats, which is the Alex one. So if you want an I Love Stats t-shirt, get yourself on the website. Then we have the just the standard Toon Review logo t-shirt, which is also in black. And we also have the Rise t-shirt in black as well.
Must be an order coming through.
Must be, yeah.
Hello.
And the main thing is the hoodies are now available, guys. The black hoodies with the logo and the Toon Review written down the arm, they are now available on the website as well. So all you need to do is go to thetoonreview.co.uk, click on the catalog bit in the menu at the top, and that will bring you to all the collections that we have: T-shirts, mugs, hoodies, novelty things as well. So there's loads of stuff on there. Get yourself over to thetoonreview.co.uk and get something to represent your favorite channel. Right, we'll move into the midfield now for the player ratings, and we'll start off with Bruno. Alex.
I think one of his best games for us in terms of just complete performance. It was defensively solid, a little bit more leadership and taking a bit of control as well, which was really nice because obviously you got Anderson next to him. 5 key passes, same as Trippier. The weight of pass sometimes was just outrageous. It was world class. You know, some of those passes, if De Bruyne makes it, they replay it 38 times. And it was Bruno doing it, who was a holding midfielder, theoretically. Just absurd. Just absolutely absurd. 8 out of 12 ground duels. He's just got it all. He's got it all. When I look up and down the statistics, he's doing stuff that a winger does. He's doing stuff that an attacking midfielder does. He does stuff that a defensive midfielder does. And he does it all with flair, with a smile on his face, and he works hard.
Dave's just said as well, Alex, that chest pass to Trippier.
Oh, it was magnificent. I mean, there's a reason the club reposted the clip of it. It's just outrageous. It's just, it's just again, it's the beautiful game, isn't it? It's what you see. You know, if you visit any of these South American countries and all the lads are out practicing football on the beach and stuff like that, it's just that. He's a 10, absolute 10. If we can get not even 90% of that version of Bruno turn up on Wednesday night, then that gives me a lot more confidence. Yeah,
Billy, he's back without a shadow of a doubt, isn't he?
Yeah, he's one of those players that we used to call worth the admission fee alone when he's on form like that yesterday, and he's been like it the past 3 or 4 weeks, to be honest. There was a bit of discontent amongst the fans when the erroneous thing came out about him having barbecues and discussing Barcelona moves, and he took that to heart. And it was a bit shaky for one game. But even
I think that message he gave at Sheffield United, Billy, when he scored, I'm effing staying, was a message to all those people.
Indeed, and he's been fantastic the past 3 or 4 weeks, and he's been scoring 10s, and no reason why not 10 yesterday. Great performance, really good, and just some of the stuff he does takes your breath away, doesn't it? You know, you just don't think it's possible.
And there is rumours going around that his contract is going to be announced within the next couple of days as well. So it'd be nice if they could get that announced and done before the PSG game, to be honest. Stiff Gator says it's no coincidence that Bruno's been on fire since Longstaff came back.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I mean, Billy, you made that point, didn't you, when Longstaff came back, and Longstaff's got better over the games that he's played as well. It's a slow start for some players, but they've gradually got there again. 10 for Bruno for me as well, for exactly what these guys have said. You know, I know we were a bit critical of Bruno at the start of the season, said, look, he's had a slow start, which he did. There's no way you can say Bruno's playing now like he did at the start of the season. It's chalk and cheese. This is the Bruno we know and love, and the ability that he's got and how he plays the game of football is just incredible. And I thought he was absolutely superb yesterday. So 10 for me, and I'm so glad he's back. Right, we'll move on to Sean Longstaff. Billy.
I'll give him a 10 as well. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. Technical as well. The crossing for Anderson's header, the run he made to get there in the first place.
Brilliant, yeah.
And he's dovetailing with Bruno. He's the glue that holds it all together. We saw last season when he was out, the game against Aston Villa, point in question. We were just dominating midfield. We don't get dominating midfield when Sean Longstaff's playing. And him doing that allows Bruno to play the way he can. He's absolutely the glue to all of it.
It's a very good point you make, actually, Billy. We don't get dominated when Longstaff's in there. And I think, you know, the way he plays the game now, he's another guy, very slow start of the season. And for whatever reason, we'll never find out that. But now is a very, very different animal. And he's up to full fitness. He's up to full flow. And he is bombing it. Just fabulous. So I'm going to give him a 10 as well. I thought he was superb yesterday. Alex?
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about giving him a 9 purely because I thought he dropped off. Maybe not dropped off, but it wasn't quite at the same level in the final 20-25 minutes.
Yeah.
However, I do feel like I'm going to give him a 10 for this. And for Baz Down Under, who's just said, but he's not technical enough. Absolute nonsense, mate. I'm afraid. I love you, but nonsense. That game is the most technical I've ever seen him.
But we don't need
I'm on a roll, Paul.
Everybody doesn't need technical players in the whole 11. You've got your technical players, then you've got your other players, your ball winners, your physical players. Simple as that, Alex.
Yeah, but I mean, if we want to win everything, which we've said we want to do, we're going to have to eventually be in a position where we've got people that can do everything. Like Rodri is that guy, right? Eventually, you've got to have everybody in there. And we're not there yet. We're not winning Champions Leagues yet. Obviously, it's a 5 to 10 year thing. Amanda said this. It's going to be a whole project.
By the way, Baz was being sarcastic, Alex, judging by the what people have said at the start of the season, yeah.
But obviously, that game is the most technical I've ever seen him. That pass, the weight of pass, I can't even remember who it was to now. Was it to Miggy or was it to Isak? And it just slowly just bent round the defender, just enough weight on the pass just to get to Isak, I think it was. So, but again, 7 ball recoveries as well. He did exactly what Longstaff does best with the technical ability. And somebody asked for stats earlier. I mean, we've got to give it to him.
I mean, that ball in for Elliot Anderson was just incredible.
On the sprint.
On the sprint, yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. I mean, that he's accumulated 0.39 expected assists. I feel like some of that, or all of that, most likely will go towards that Anderson chance. He absolutely bombed it down the right wing to put in that cross, and that the cross was absolutely delicious as well. The weight of it there, he absolutely hung it up in the air. It was magnificent. One key pass as well, which presumably was that, or it was even the floated one around. There was one more thing I was going to say as well, and I've forgotten what it was. What was it?
The stats?
I can't remember.
I'm sure.
Well, it was just the combination of the technical ability. Oh yeah, it was about shots as well. He did have a couple of shots on goal. Obviously didn't get anything from it, but again, it was more of an all-round performance. He was chipping in with crosses, with more long balls, with a key pass. It's just a little bit. That's what we needed. We just need Longstaff with a little bit of pizzazz on it. That was it. That was what we were looking for. I understand it's very difficult for people to play. Sort of, I feel like somebody mentioned this in the chat earlier, that Dan Burn has to raise his levels to match the rest of the team. I agree with that. However, I think with Longstaff, I don't think it's yet decided whether that's the case. Is he raising his level, or is he still young enough and hungry enough that he can learn these permanently? Maybe. Is it going to have to raise his level, or can he just learn? He's training with really gifted players now. He's trusted. He's learning. He's got a good coaching team around him. Can he just improve? Maybe we can get a lot more out of Longstaff than we think.
He's not our best player. He's not our best player by any shadow of imagination, but he's possibly our most important player. Yeah,
exactly. King Hoddle says you were going to say how good Udogie is, Alex. By the way, can I just state that first yellow card that Jota got yesterday was a joke. Udogie tripped himself. He tripped over himself, and Jota got a yellow card. How in God's earth do you get a yellow card for the opposition player tripping him? And it wasn't even a difficult decision. It was blatant. Udogie was about a yard in front of Jota.
At that point, he was putting out yellow cards for every tackle. Every
just incredible. Anyway, let's move on to Elliot Anderson. And again, I thought Elliot was a 10 yesterday. And I'm not even dropping him a point for the missed header because he did everything properly. He tried to put the header back the other way from where the keeper was coming from. And I thought the keeper made a fabulous save with his leg. Elliot's link-up play especially up with Bruno and with Gordon, I thought was excellent. You know, Gordon come inside, Elliot would go left. And I just thought it's just starting to really gel between those players. So I thought Anderson was superb yesterday. So I'm giving him a 10. Alex?
I'm going to give him a 9.
Boom!
However, I did think it was one of his best performances. I want to draw particular attention to that shot he had where he managed to dink the ball around with his feet. Very, very technical footwork there to get around two players to get the shot away, which is not something we would normally associate with that sort of dogged midfielder from the northeast. You normally don't get that. There's a reason they've called him the Geordie Maradona, is because he's got that technical quality. We talk about Longstaff is hopefully gaining a bit more. Anderson's got it already. Whatever it is, he's got it straight away. You can see it there with the footwork. He's almost better when he's got less time to think, because he's very, very instinctive footballer. Yeah. I'm maybe not the 10 purely for 5 out of 11 ground duels. I think sometimes he can be, maybe naive's the wrong word, but sometimes he forces himself into a duel and then he'll lose it. When I think maybe you didn't need to take that player on. You could have gone around or past it. And he backs himself to win every exactly. And he backs himself to win every duel, and he's not winning every duel. He's winning about half of them. I think he's trying to, and he mentioned this in his recent interview, he's trying to take a lot of inspiration from Joe Linton, which fair enough. If you're going to try and copy someone's position, Joe Linton's a good person to try and learn from.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I'll give him a 9. I think it was really, really good from him.
Clarkey says, hey, Udogie definitely got tripped.
Udogie caught...
Am I missing something here?
No, Udogie caught Jota's knee. Jota didn't put a challenge in and then tripped himself after he caught his knee. So it was definitely not a yellow card. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Anyway, and Elliot Anderson, Billy?
Yeah, I think I'll give him a 10. I think being fair to mark him less than the rest of the midfield because he contributed to that. Technically, he's fantastic. He's a real star in the making. Yeah, as I said earlier, I just don't... I think he's undroppable at the minute.
He's got to be involved more now, hasn't he? He's made that point 100%. To be involved more rather than on the bench.
No, it's 2 weeks in the Troy's done that. Sheffield United, but okay, it's crap opposition. or mediocre opposition, whatever I want to describe it. But he's been fantastic in both games. So yeah.
Right. We will move on to the front three now, and we'll start off with Anthony Gordon. I mean, what do you say about Gordon yesterday? Just superb again. Are we going with 10s, guys?
I'm going to mark him down for the yellow card, which was ridiculous.
Yes, actually, good point, Billy. Yeah, I'm going with a 9 as well, just for that reason. He shouldn't have got a yellow.
I'm going to give him a 10.
That's
regardless
fair
of
enough.
that. I agree that that's annoying, but he was just outrageous. Just physically, 4 tackles, 9 out of 13 ground duels we've already mentioned, and he got the penalty for us. He was a constant menace. And he's playing a lot more minutes than was originally sort of expected, and he's still putting in that level of performance. He's winning us games, really. He just is.
Well, yeah, I mean, he changed the game against Sheffield United, didn't he? But maybe Eddie just had a word in his ear and said, "Look, just get yourself a yellow card, and then you come back fresh after the international break." Without any.
No, I don't think so either. Not
well, I'm being facetious, guys. I know for a fact he wouldn't have said that, but
he'd have been a massive plus in the West Ham game.
Yeah,
and he's also Player of the Month as well. He is the Seller Player of the Month. So
yes, he is
for a reason.
Deservedly so. Absolutely. Right, Miggy. Alex.
10, 100% a 10 for the goal. And for the physical display, again, 7 out of 8 ground duels is ridiculous. And Eddie Howe obviously mentioned in his press conference he wanted to go and have a look at the stats for his physical stats because they were just absurd. He was just everywhere. They were, I mean, I feel like you've got to give a lot of credit to Burnley because if that was 2 or 3 other teams in the Premier League with that press, we'd have scored an absolute bucket load more. They had to be so careful. 10 from Miggy. The goal was sensational. The work rate and the physicality was also sensational. It's just a wonderful player. Again, he's not going to be incredible against every opposition, but against this level of opposition, he is very, very handy to have in the team.
Yep. Billy?
All of the above. Yeah, I thought he was brilliant yesterday.
Yep, 100%. I 100% agree, Alex. So a 10 for Miggy. Right now, Isak. I'm going to give Isak a 7. He scored the penalty and converted it brilliantly, and I absolutely love Isak, and I think he's dynamite sometimes, but there's just something, I don't know, I can't put my finger on it. I don't know. A lot of people are giving 7 and 8 in the chat, which is interesting. Alex, you can hang your head, but he wasn't outstanding as some of the other players yesterday. He just wasn't. So he gets a 7 from me. Billy?
Yeah, I'll go with a 7. His touch just wasn't quite right yesterday, was it? Things were bouncing off him. First touch let him down on occasions, and then the glaring miss, which he couldn't get his foot around it, but at the end of the day, he could have took a touch and knocked it in. So for that, I'll give him a 7. But a fantastic penalty. Really good penalty. Alex?
I'm going to give him an 8. Scored a great penalty, worked really hard. I think a lot of the issues were down to how hard he was working. I think people underestimate Burnley and how hard that front three had to work together in the press. And I feel like that was a lot of the reason down to why he was sort of stumbling at the final hurdle when it was necessary. I think against other teams it will be better. I think he will improve in his fitness. And it's an 8 from me. I thought it was a good performance. I feel like it's going to happen like that when you haven't pressed that hard.
To be fair,
and there's no way that you can rate. I mean, you've done it, but I don't think there's any way anybody can rate Dan Burn higher than Isak in that game.
Well, I disagree with that.
Believe it.
I have.
Well, Isak scored.
But yes, from a penalty, Alex. Clarkey actually comes up with a good point saying we aren't playing to Isak's strengths. But then again, I will always say all along that Isak is not a number 9. I don't. That's just my opinion. I think he's a left-sided forward. That's where he made his name at Sociedad. That's where he plays for Sweden. I just think that he's a left-sided forward. But because we have Anthony Gordon just superb at the minute, he's playing where he is, and I just don't think I don't think we played to his strength. I think Clarkie's perfectly right with that point.
I don't think we bought him. I don't think we bought him as left-sided forward, though. Absolutely not. I think we bought him as left forward.
I know, but that's why he played, though, isn't it? That's the strange thing. We bought him from Sociedad, and that's why he played. But listen, I mean,
just remember we might buy another striker soon because obviously we gave Callum Wilson a year extension. However, Callum Wilson's not going to be around forever, so I would fully expect in the next 2 years we're going to put our hand in a pocket for a very big centre forward purchase to challenge Isak or even go in front of him. So we'll see. It will come. It will change.
Listen, that's not to say that I don't think Isak is a wonderful footballer, because I do. I think he's outstanding. And I think, we've got an absolute incredible player. And, it's just a case of all these players in different positions. And eventually it's still very early in the season. As the season goes on, he may well play a few games out on the left, score a few more goals as well. So I don't have a worry about Isak. It's just something's... The last few games, but Eddie then has said that he's had a bit of a knock on his knee, hasn't he? So maybe that's affecting him.
And he's having to play, isn't he? He's having to play.
And he's having to play, yeah. That's a good point. So, yeah, okay. Right, the substitutes, we're not going to, we aren't, no way are we rating Joe Linton, because he literally had 20 seconds of football.
I mean, Tonali came on 68th minute.
Yeah. Tonali, for me, I'm giving him an 8. I thought he was really good when he came on. Nothing sort of incredible, but I thought Tonali did really well. So yeah, I'm not going to mark Tonali down for anything. I thought he was a steady 8 yesterday. Billy?
I'll give him a 7. I thought it was okay. Yeah, nothing great, nothing shit. 7.
Alex?
I'm going to go with a 7, but I do agree with what you've said, Paul. That 12 out of 12 passes with a key pass. He kept it really tidy, made sure it wasn't sloppy. However, a little bit slow with his decision making, getting the ball out of his feet in some of those attacking sequences. But look really good. Was careful. He's getting his confidence up. Yeah, solid 7.
Yep. 7s and 8s in the chat as well. So pretty much everybody agreeing there. Who was the next one?
Livramento and Murphy both came on at the 90th minute for Isak and Almiron.
Yeah, we're not involved them. It's pointless. They weren't on long enough. Eddie Howe, guys.
Well,
Billy?
Yeah, we'll come away with a victory. We played some really great stuff to watch. Yeah, we'll give him a 10. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, look, he was hamstrung with his substitutions at times. I think certain players he wanted to keep, like Alex has said, Tonali, for instance. I think he was keeping him for PSG. I don't think there was any intent to bring Tonali on. He wanted Joe Linton to get a few more minutes under his belt in possible preparation for starting against PSG. That's obviously not going to happen now. But I thought he did very well. Again, good tactics. We controlled literally 90% of that game yesterday. We were very comfortable. So 10 for me as well. Alex?
Yeah, I'm going to give him a 10. I feel like we need to... It can't be understated enough. The difference to Nick Pope, specifically with his confidence, and the change there. A lot of managers can lose dressing rooms and stuff like that. And we've had issues... periods of bad form or maybe not winning. And the media tries to get on your back and other managers struggle with things like that. But Eddie Howe is able to change that. The lads have got full faith and trust in him, which is great to see. A 10 as well, I think massively due to Jamal Lascelles coming in and looking decent, because I didn't enjoy watching Jamal Lascelles play 2 years ago, as people well know. But he looks reliable. We don't need him to be insane. We just need him to be reliable to a point. We need him to do his job. And he's done that the last several times we've seen him. That's fine. For the slight changes, things like Cher going left-sided centre-half, Lascelles, for Anderson, obviously not going out on loan last season.
I'm not so sure why he took Anderson off. That's the only question I've got.
But there may be reasons for that. There may be reasons for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It might have been physio advised. It might have been based on his workload in training, how he was feeling. If possible, give him 70 minutes. If possible, give him this amount. You never know what's been advised. But yeah, 10. I think considering the slight shifts, they were more than slight shifts. especially when we brought Lascelles into the squad. And no,
I mean, he could
Botman.
have done that against Brighton, but he didn't. He's learned from his mistakes.
Yep.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
But what we will do is we'll give some extra marks. We'll give a 10 to Crystal Palace, a 10 to Luton Town, and a 10 to Wolverhampton Wanderers yesterday as well. Well done, those three teams, especially Luton Town, because that is just hilarious. So, yeah. Right, that is it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Almost 1,000 watching tonight, which is brilliant for a Sunday night. Thank you very much. If you have enjoyed this show, as usual, give it the thumbs up, guys. So important to the channel. We keep those coming in. So before you depart, just hit the thumbs up button, guys. It really does help the channel. And of course, if you're new and like what you see, please do subscribe. Free to do so. You've seen what a wonderful community that we have on the Toon Review. It's free to do so. Subscribe and then hit that notification bell, which will let you know when we schedule our live shows or we upload any videos. Also, as usual, you can join, and as a member for the channel, just hit the join button just underneath the three of us. Keep voting in the Football Content Award finals. That is pinned at the top of the description. Just scroll down to Best Podcast, drop down box for the Premier League, and vote for the Toon Review. Keep going, guys. Keep voting and voting and voting. It really means a lot. And of course, the toonreview.co.uk website now up and running again. Go and get your merch, or however you'd like to say it. T-shirts, mugs, hoodies, everything. Caps are coming soon as well, I do believe. So lots more to come as well. But thank you very much. Yes, Alex?
I do have one rating for a Burnley player as well.
Okay.
I think that Wilson Odebert, that young lad who came on, I feel like it's worth just, keep an eye on him for the season. I really liked him. I thought he was really good. He's only 18 years old, and a couple of counter-attacks when he came on were outrageous. Trippy went flying in, missed the tackle, and he was gone, and Lascelles had to track back really carefully. Like, he was a good threat. So I'd keep an eye on him for the season. It could be really interesting.
I like coffee. Daisy merch, I believe Susan will be working on. There will be some sort of Daisy merch coming. There has to be. She's the channel mascot. So don't worry about that. But thank you to the Mod Squad. Thank you to Billy and Alex. Keep an eye on the channel. Not sure what is happening tomorrow night. We may have a night off before we go again with the preview for the PSG game, the watch along, the review, the face the fans. Then we go back into a weekend of football again. So we're going to be very, very busy. So we may have a night off tomorrow night, but there might be a recorded video with any daily news to bring you. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your memberships and super chats. And we will see you again very soon. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening, folks. Good night.
How are the lads and lasses?
Come back and check out some green.